what age do children begin fasting?
The question is, what age do children start fasting? So, the question, or the answer to this is two parts. There is an age in which the children are mandatory, it's mandatory for them to start fasting, and then there's an age where they are encouraged to start fasting. As it relates to the age in which they are encouraged to start fasting, is when a parent sees from their child that they have the ability to fast, then the parent encourages the child to fast, providing incentives for the child if they're able to do so. Then, when the child reaches the age of puberty, it's at that point that the child is now, it's obligated, it's an obligation upon the child to start fasting at the age of puberty.
Next question, does throwing up break your fast?
Okay. Does throwing up break your fast? So, again, there will be two circumstances. One circumstance is if a person intentionally, voluntarily vomited. For example, if a person stuck his finger in his mouth to force himself to throw up. And then there's another circumstance where a person is, the vomit has involuntarily come out. So the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him, he said if a person intentionally vomits, he forces himself to vomit, then he is breaking his fast. However, if he involuntarily vomits, then his fast is still valid.
Next, so what is zakat? Does everyone pay, even the less fortunate?
Can I ask a question? Why would the person intentionally vomit?
You said why would a person intentionally vomit? So there are many reasons why people intentionally vomit. So for example, you do have certain certain people who they look at themselves, they have certain issues with their bodies is one reason why people vomit. And you have other things that people they maybe have I never personally I'm just reaching here. But I do know, so for example, if in a case where a person may have put something in his mouth that he didn't want to, so he wants to bring it back up. Which, yes, I don't know.
Okay, moving on. So next, I think we'll go round robin, so Imam Jawad will have to answer the next one. What is zakat? Does everyone pay, even the less fortunate? What is zakat? Does everyone pay?
First of all, zakat is a fixed charity which is 2.5% on your savings, and the savings have to be in your possession for 12 calendar months. Therefore, automatically that excludes a lot of people from paying zakat, because if you don't have that much money, which is called the nisab. Nisab in Arabic means a threshold, which is based on about 87 grams of gold. Currently, the gold price is approximately like about $6,000. So let's say roughly if somebody has savings for 12 months more than $6,000, not me, not at all, because we don't have money, emails, are very tough to go that way. But someone has 6,000 and above, therefore they do 5%. And the next question says, do the less fortunate pay? No, they don't, because obviously they don't meet that two criteria, 12 months and above $6,000. $6,000.
I think next one I'll switch back to Imam Abdullah. Can you kill bugs while fasting?
That's the first time I've heard that question. And I've heard lots of questions, and Islam supports the preservation of life. And there are rules, actually, to bugs, and especially ants, because the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has prohibited us from killing ants in general. And so, if that's the case, then we shouldn't just be indiscriminately killing. And if we're not indiscriminately killing bugs, ants, and so on and so forth, then what about human life? That's even more precious.
Next, Sister Samara, if you can answer this. What is the best way to accommodate for Muslim co-workers and students?
Well, my talk was on compassion, so that's where I would start with, right? Listening to each other allows us to be compassionate. You can't really accommodate anyone if you're not listening to their needs. So to listen to your coworkers, your students, and to have this willingness to support their religious and spiritual needs, especially in the month of Ramadan, is a way to really foster the kind of work environment that becomes most productive anyway. So I think we need to bring back compassion, make it cool again, in all spaces and circles.
So, the next one, Jawad. Okay. What do you look forward to most with each Ramadan?
What I look forward to each Ramadan is the nightly prayers, the Taraweeh prayers in the mosque, in the masjid that we have. Because that's a good way of bonding with our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, and it gives you a sense of community. It is something that I look forward to from my childhood days and would long for it when Ramadan would come. Not just because we can meet and make new friends, but also we get to pray those extra prayers, which only comes once in a year during this month.
The Iftar and the prayer.
We're supposed to look forward to Iftar. I know that. That's part of the deal anyway. Because you can't go to Taraweeh without Iftar.
Right, thanks. This is just going round robin again, Imam Abdullah. You get the good questions. Does shisha or hookah invalidate the reward for prayers?
Huh? The shisha and what?
Hookah.
Hookah?
Smoking in general, I guess.
Does it invalidate the prayers?
Yeah.
So, smoking shisha and hookah, so that's one issue, and the validity of one's prayer is a separate issue. And so it's possible for a person to do something that has been prohibited in Islam, or is forbidden in Islam, but still have his prayers validated, because one is not dependent upon the other. And so whether or not a person smokes shisha or not, and his prayers are valid as long as he is meeting the criteria that for the validity of his prayers.
Sumera, what is the reason for the direction one faces during prayer?
Okay, so we actually just came back from Mecca a few days ago. So we face Mecca, which is where the Kaaba is considered the first house built for the worship of God by the Prophet Abraham. So it's a central, pivotal religious location that we turn towards symbolically. And really what it means is that we turn our focus and our attention, our devotion to God in all our affairs. So it's a symbolic way to orient yourself psychologically as well as physically, to remind yourself that your focus, your spiritual point, your center, the purpose of your existence revolves around the worship of one God, and therefore you face that direction where the first house ever built for the worship of one God was actually laid down by Prophet Abraham.
Is there a preferred cultural meal to be eaten during Suhoor or Iftar?
Preferred cultural meal. It varies from Muslim country to country. Our Arab friends would have hummus or food, or they might try to have mansaf or maqluba. South Asian Muslim countries, you might have like biryani or pulao or nihari or some kind of korma. You go to the Caribbean islands and our Muslim friends would like to have some kind of soul food, like with kidney beans and chili and others. I always wondered, what is the American Muslim favorite food? Maybe you know those. Like the indigenous Muslim. What is there any American food? What would you call American food? A burger? Fries? Even that isn't boring. I've been in this country for 30 years. I'm still grappling with what is the American food that you can identify. This is American food. Pizza. That was important for me too. There is no American food because America is a melting pot. We all came as immigrants and we institutionalized our favorite dishes into it. Salt, soul food, black people in the Caribbean islands.
Fried fish and macaroni and cheese.
Fish and macaroni and cheese.
Alright, okay. Imam Abdullah, what happens if the child is special needs?
So, there are 4 conditions in order to for the fast to be mandatory upon an individual. One of those requirements is to be of sound intellect. So if you have an individual who is intellectually challenged in any way, then the requirement of fasting is not, it drops off. The requirement of fasting is dropped due to the challenges of that individual.
Samara, does throwing up break your fast?
I was listening to Abdullah's answer, so it does not if you don't do it on purpose.
What is it? Throwing up
Throwing up break your fast.
That's purpose. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Samara, back at you. Night in Gaza, who is the author?
Dr. Mads Gilbert, M-A-D-S, Gilbert, G-I-L-B-E-R-T. I guarantee that anyone who reads that book will come out absolutely shocked. You will learn things you have never heard before on the media. You will see pictures you can't imagine actually exist. Pictures of injured children with bullet holes exposing their spinal cords, taken by Dr. Mads Gilbert himself. We've been reading a lot on the conflict. That's one book. There's also a great novel. It's called Mornings in Jane. That's another great reading, Mornings in Jane. It's also heartbreaking, but it's an important book to read as well. He's from Norway, so what the government of Norway does is they have a special unit where they send people to war-ravaged countries, And Dr. Gilbert Jesus keeps coming back to Gaza. This time he was denied entry. He was at the Rafah border in Egypt for 2 weeks. He was denied entry. So there's a systematic assault against doctors, as well as we know about over 90 doctors and civilians have been killed or kidnapped at Shifa Hospital in the past 4 weeks. Actually arresting, kidnapping, torturing doctors, heads of staff, nurses, etc. Another great website everyone should go log on to, ifamericansnew.org. ifamericansnew.org. Again, you'll see things that will only shock you. ifamericansnew.org, yes. ifamericansnew.org.
Next one, Imam Abdullah. What are the differences between mosques in our country? Do people mostly choose based on cultural origin, doctrinal differences, or just location?
First, so one of the big differences between mosques here, or masjids here in this country versus masajid or mosques in other countries, like in Muslim countries, is the masjid or the mosque in our country, in the United States, it serves as the basic, it's the central part of the entire Muslim community. And so as you can see around you, all events, whether they're social, religious, all take place inside of the mosque. Whereas in a Muslim country, the mosque is mostly for just religious rituals. Whereas here, as you can see, we have a gym. You play basketball here. Whereas over in a Muslim country, then you wouldn't do that inside of the mosque. So being as though this is not a Muslim country, this is the United States of America, we tend to group, because we are a minority, it's not many of us, so we tend to group and congregate here inside of the Islamic Center. And do people, what was the second part of the question? Do people usually check
culture or country of origin?
And I think that people do naturally, maybe not intentionally, choose mosques based on culture, simply because it's easier to sit and talk and make friends with people who you understand them and they understand you. Right? There's language barriers. So for example, if I'm sitting with people who are from Nigeria and they're all speaking Hausa, and I'm not going to understand anything that they're saying. Not that I don't like them, or not that I have anything against them, I'm not going to be as comfortable sitting with them versus sitting with a group of people that are speaking English, right? And I'm sure that people who come from Bangladesh feel the same way, people who come from Japan feel the same way. And so naturally, we kind of just tend to group together with people who when we look at them, we see ourselves in that person. And I don't see anything wrong with people coming together on this basis, as long as we are remaining united and we're not discriminating against others who don't look like us, who don't sound like us. Then us coming together, sitting at a group where we can be comfortable and enjoy one another's company based on the fact that we like the same likes and we talk the same talk, then that's okay.
Okay, I think it's a good question it's going up and down, but are Muslims allowed to vote in local or presidential elections? Imam Abdullah.
Why do you give me that?
Wrong.
Maybe it's a coincidence that you knew. Since 9/11 happened, I was one of the first imam who've been advocating our Muslim community to get in civic engagement. If you as Muslims recall 23 years ago, where the Muslim diaspora stood on the night of 9/11, we had very minimal civic engagement. We had very few people in electoral or elected representatives, very few mayors or councilmen or freeholders or want to give a shout out to Detective Chaudhry and Trooper Malik who are here from law enforcement, and also my dear friend Chris from the prosecutor's office, and Sister Zainab here also, myself from, did I say the wrong name? So I just want to give a shout out to all these people who are part of civic engagement. The answer is simple is that nothing in the religion stops Muslims from voting, whether in presidential election, gubernatorial election, local elections, Senate elections, or any elections. In fact, we as Muslims should, as citizens of the United States, participate in the electoral process. Thank you, Mr. Chris, from the prosecutor's office, my dear friend. We share a joke together all the time, because more participation from the mosque and Muslim community in the American electoral process is the part and parcel of our faith. Because Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that person is not from our own or nation who doesn't have a concern for others in society. And therefore, we should be participating, we should encourage our kids, our children. As an imam, I always advocate that our children should choose careers like in political science or in law or in other areas so that they can be part of this society.
I think that's when you are 90 seconds away from 7:15, so with that we'll end the Q&A. More questions?